Yes, good afternoon, Nevis, good afternoon, St. Kitts, good afternoon to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, and good afternoon to everyone who are listening to this radio station, Von Radio 860 AM at this time. My name is Alexis Jefferson, of course, I'm here today to host this program that is just a few weeks old, that is On Point. And it is indeed my pleasure to be here this afternoon, and while I'm shouting up persons or islands, I can't forget those folks down in St. Martin who are now calling me and telling me that they have found this program and they are now listening to On Point. I want to shout up my cousin down there, Evan, and also all of my other family members and those who listen to Von Radio frequently. I also want to shout out persons in the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, of course, persons throughout the United States, the eastern seaboard, all the way over to the west in California and the northwest, Washington State. It is morning over there, but it is lunchtime on the East Coast, and of course in the Midwest, Kansas, Oklahoma, and those other states where we have persons from the Federation, but more so Nevis, who are there. Coming back home, I want to say good afternoon to all of the folks over there in St. James. I do have some following over there. Varita Stapleton, good afternoon. I just want to shout you up. You're one of my ardent listeners, and Amaral, of course. You both of you might be surprised that I'm calling your name, but I just figure I'll shout you up this afternoon because you have now become two of my biggest fans over there at this program, because you said you've been listening from day one until now, along with many others. So everyone in St. James who are listening, Butlers, Brick Hill, Camps, Barnaby, Libert Hill, all the way up to Mount Lily Fountain and back down into Newcastle. All of you who are listening throughout St. James, throughout St. Thomas's, throughout St. Paul's, St. John's and St. George's, and I say the whole of Nevis. I did say so from the get-go. So I welcome everyone. And listen, I am beginning to enjoy coming here on a Friday afternoon at 1 p.m. I did say that I'll skip lunch and spend it with you, the good people here on Nevis or in St. Kitts, or those who are listening to Von Radio, because I believe it is indeed an excellent thing to do, because there are information. There are bits and pieces of information that persons would like to know about, and I am happy to come here to divulge or to engage or to correct whatever needs to be corrected. But whatever the case might be, that's why I'm here. And indeed, there's always room for another voice, because there are many voices out there already, and indeed there's still room for more. So if there are other persons who are thinking about having their own show, having a new show, or any type of show, Von Radio is open and ready to welcome one and all. While I speak of Von Radio, last Friday when I was here, I forgot, I must admit, to express congratulations to Von Radio for attaining 35 years of operations here on the island of Nevis and throughout the Eastern Caribbean, the entire world, I must say, because Von Radio is the Caribbean's only powerhouse. And it is said, because it is a fact, the only powerhouse in the Caribbean on the AM dial, but we are now on the FM dial as well. But Von Radio has been here since June of 1988, the 18th of June to be specific. And it was a Saturday afternoon when Von Radio came live on the airwaves. I recall being in Brick Hill, up there in Goatole where I grew up, right under a big mango tree, when the sounds started resonating all the way up in that gut. And it was music to my ears. And I can't forget that afternoon at all. I almost want to believe it was around 2 p.m. thereabout. It might have been earlier, later, I don't know. But it was a Saturday afternoon and I was there with my grandparents. And when it came on, that was history made on that day. And this radio station continues to make history over the years. It has been here through thick and thin. While some have come and gone, Von Radio is still here. And I believe it is testimony to the actual management of this institution. What is acceptable elsewhere is not acceptable here on Von Radio. What is done elsewhere is not done here. What actually is done on Von Radio is quality broadcasting, where persons are not allowed to cuss one another for the lack of a different word. Persons are not allowed to, say unsavory things about other persons, but bring something rich and something wholesome to the debate. And that is what we have done over the years. Sometimes when we come here for a broadcast where there will be call-in sessions and so forth, or the lines will be open, we always say respect yourself first of all, respect the host, respect the station, and respect the listeners. And with all that amount of respect going all around, that is why Von Radio, 35 years on, is still here. Anyone who was born on the 18th of June 1988 can certainly say they have reached the middle of their life, because we are granted 10. We always say 50 is midlife. I don't know. Some will live to 100. But for sure, if you get to 35, you say you're halfway there. Well, Von Radio is not halfway there. Von Radio will be around long after we are gone. I'm hoping that whoever comes behind or comes along after the current general manager, Mr. Everett Weber Herbert, who comes along after all of the workers and all of the broadcasters have gone, will continue this legacy and move it to higher heights, because Nevis is a much better place as a result of Von Radio. And it will continue to be a much better place, an even better place, because Von Radio has its role to play and its part to play in the overall development and progress of this island and this federation on a whole and beyond. But since we are here in the Federation, and it is one of the best radio stations in the Federation, I just had to zero in on Nevis and the Federation. Many leaders have come. Many debaters have come. Many intellectuals have come. And the lowest of the low has come as well. The platform is there for every single person to come with the level of respect that we expect of everyone. That is why the doors are open. Just call up the general manager and say, I want to come on, and he'll find a space for you. And I just had to impart those words. And you see, I rattling off, because me love me Von. I love off me Von. Whereas some will call it down, I've always stuck with it. I started here in terms of live broadcasting, I believe it was back in 2006. I think the Honorable Mark Brantley was on vacation at that time and gave me an opportunity to host on the Mark then. And I haven't looked back since, because I always relish the opportunity to come to Von Radio and speak from this microphone. But that wasn't my first interaction with Von Radio, because from the onset I have been here. I can recall in 1989, after the passage of Hurricane Hugo, Von Radio would have had a contest, a poem contest, or poetry contest, however you want to put it. So persons were asked to submit their best poem to describe Hurricane Hugo, and I submitted one. I thought I won, because I recall up at Jonathan's Villa that Saturday evening. It was a Saturday evening, I think, when the poems that were recorded and sent in, they were being played up there and judged up there at Jonathan's Villa up in Mount Lily. I listened mine. I listened to the Honorable Eric Evelyn and all of the others who submitted a poem. The Honorable Eric Evelyn would have won, and I felt I was cheated. But anyway, I cannot be judge and jury. The judges say Eric won, and I came, I think, second or third or something like that. But at least my poem, and I can almost remember the first couple of lines. And I said, my name is Hurricane Hugo. And for those of you who don't know, my name is Hugo. And for those of you who don't know, something, I forget the rest. Old age has caught up with me. But anyway, I'll find that somewhere in the archives again. Von Radio have the old cassettes here, so I'm sure if they search, they can find it. But I recall that poem, and it was our way of supporting Von Radio, because, like I said, Von Radio have been through thick, thin, the good, the bad, the indifferent. And during those hurricanes of the past, they have been a beacon of light in darkness, so to speak. When the electricity is out, when things seem hopeless, Von Radio has always been that voice that we listen to for comfort, and also that voice that we hear, imparting the various bits of information regarding the storms that are passing. And I cannot say much more about Von Radio other than to say I wish the management and staff and this institution long life and many more years of broadcasting. 35 years on, I don't know if I'll be here, but if I'm here, I'll be happy to be alive. But if I'm alive to say happy 70th, or even backtrack to happy 50th, I'll thank God for that, and I'll thank God for Von Radio. And I wish this institution well into the futures also, to provide a quality broadcasting that it has always provided for us here on the island of Nevis. So I just thought that I'll begin that way this afternoon, because I missed out last week. But you know, when you're celebrating, it's a whole month long of celebration. Meaning, if your birthday is on the 1st of June, I believe the whole month you should be able to celebrate. If it's the 18th, the remaining 12 days, or the remaining portion of the month, you go ahead and celebrate. So Von Radio is still celebrating, and I'm sure I will be told I'm not late at all, and I don't feel I'm late. But if I didn't express last week, I'm doing so this week. But my heart and my soul and my well-being and everything is with Von Radio, and I wish it well. I wish it all the success going into the future with God's help. So that's my little piece for Von Radio, and I move on now. I want to say that anyone who is celebrating this afternoon, or a birthday or an anniversary, I wish you well. Continue to celebrate. Celebrate it as if it's the last day to celebrate, because these days you never know. So if you're celebrating, have a wonderful time. Let your hair down. If you don't have any hair, well, scratch your head, rub your head, whatever it is. Just enjoy yourself. Have a drink. As they say here on Von Radio, a drink or two, but no more than that. Just stay within your limits, but enjoy yourself. Give God thanks first and foremost, and enjoy the rest of your day. You have until midnight tonight. If not, then you can continue celebrating as well towards the end of the month also. Anyone who is not feeling too well this evening, if you're over there at the Alexandria Hospital, I wish you well. I wish you speedy recovery. Your recovery is important to us, in that we want you up and about to continue to make your contribution towards the overall development of this island and this federation. And if it is that you're out and recovering, I wish you all the best with your recoveries. I just want to say good afternoon to my favorite baker over there in Brickhill, Wenford, or Pastor Wenford Griffin. He was under the weather the other day, and I'm sure he's coming along nicely. And I wish you God's good health and protection, sir, as you recover. And anyone else who is recovering, you have my prayers as well. Ladies and gentlemen, you know we are in the hurricane season as it is. And as we speak, we have two storms that are within the region, so to speak. None of them are actually threatening St. Kitts and Nevis at this point in time. While I say that, I also want to give God thanks, because over the years we have been spared the direct impact of many storms. And we've been, well, some will say we're lucky. But I would want to think that God has protected us thus far, and we want to continue to give God thanks for his continued protection. The tropical storms are Brett, which is just about heading into the Caribbean Sea, I believe. And then at the back of that we have tropical storm Cindy, I believe the name is. Cindy. It's obvious that we may not be directly impacted, but we need some rain. We need some rain because, of course, we've had some hot days over the last couple of days and weeks, I must say. So the rain would be good. But anything more than that, we would want to say, well, no, keep that, let that go somewhere else. Not wishing bad on anyone else, but let that go somewhere else. But the rain would be good. We had some showers earlier today. But of course, when these showers come, they're intense, but they're short. So it's just enough to keep the dust down. But we need some rain for at least a couple of hours to make a difference. And with God's help, it's going to come. So we continue to pray. But I want to ask persons to continue to stay in tune and stay prepared, because this season has just started. We go until the end of November, so anything can happen between now and then. All we're praying for is that we do not get any intense storm around here to derail the progress we've made over the last year or so. We have had some difficult times, let's say in 2020, 2021, when we were visited by COVID-19. But since then, we have seen some recovery. People are working. Construction is booming. There are visitors on the island still, even though the tourist season is just about winding down. But indeed, we have some persons these days on the island because of the music festival. So we know there's some activity on the island, and persons are indeed getting some revenue in whatever area you're engaged in. And I just want us to continue to pray that we are not adversely affected anytime throughout the rest of this season. But whatever comes our way, we just have to continue to prepare for the eventuality if it does come. But in preparing, we also hope for the best, and hope that at the end of this season we'll say, thank you, Lord, for your mercies, tender mercies towards us. So continue to stay tuned and stay prepared. I just said that we're in the midst of music festival. Last night was the first night. Tonight it continues into tomorrow night. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm encouraging all of you to go. But over the 25 years, Alexis Jeffers, I've never gone. Well, everyone have their own likeness and their own forte and their own desires. But my desire really is for Herbert Beach to come around in August 7th, I think it is. Our Herbert Beach affair is just about 24 years old. I think this year is the 24th year. So when that comes around, I am always active and get things done so that persons can come and enjoy that day with us, or that afternoon, that evening. This year we are having Herbert Beach, of course. So I'm asking anyone who normally have a booth at the event, just call me up and let me make sure that your name is on the list. And also anyone who wants to put on any side activities over there. If you want to put on something for the kids or the children, you can do so. If you want to put on any other event, let me know. There is a surprise activity plan for this year. I'll say more about it as we go along, but that I believe will be the first time it is being held over there. We're still putting things together in that regard. Some guys have come together and said they're putting on this surprise event, so I'm going to support them with that in terms of giving them the opportunity to do so. So that will be for Herbert Beach Affair this year. So it's well on. Persons ask every year what is happening, but you know, sometimes we don't advertise. But once people hear Herbert Beach is on, they're coming to Herbert Beach. So we're there from 12 midday to 12 midnight on August 7th. That's August Monday. So that is out of the way. And we'll talk more about that at some point. Now, since the music festival is on, then you know there are movements between St. Kitts and Nevis. A lot of persons are going across to St. Kitts, especially in the evening. But of course, during the day, persons who would have come for the music festival are coming over to Nevis to savor what we have to offer over here. Some are coming to go down to Pinnies to get a lunch. Some are coming for island excursions or tours. Some are coming to visit family members. Some are just coming to make sure they get a little piece of Nevis since they're this close to Nevis. So we always promote St. Kitts and Nevis as two island, one paradise. So they're coming to savor the next side of paradise, and we welcome you, and we hope that the little visit that you'll pay us will turn into something big next time, where you'll come to Nevis and spend a week, 2 weeks, or whatever the case might be, because that is what we look forward to here in Nevis. Those long-term meaning longer than a day, longer than 2 days, but medium to long-term stay, however you want to frame it or put it over. But anything beyond a week, I believe that is a good period of time to spend here, because you have to rent something, you have to stay somewhere, you patronize our restaurant, you use the services that are available here on the island, and all of this amount to a little bit of money for everybody. So the longer you stay, the better it is for everyone. So the movements are there, and of course the most convenient point these days to travel is over there at the Wally Water Taxi Facility. I see people coming daily, moving back and forth and enjoying the ambience over there. Some just come, get into the vehicle and go. Some will spend a few minutes and have a conversation. Whatever the case might be, it is a hub of activities over there at Wally Water Taxi Facility. And you know, these days the chatter is still there about the Wally Water Taxi Facility. Some say you ain't finished yet. Some say all kind of negative things, but that's okay. The bottom line is, when we bought that property and built that pier, we said that is the first phase. The next phase will be to complete the building that is under construction there. That will be the waiting area. Tickets will be sold, offices for NASPER, and hopefully immigration and any other government services that needs to be there for the various reasons. There are 3 small units that are still to be constructed on the property so that it can be rented to persons who would want to sell some goodies to eat or drink. Not a full-fledged restaurant, but those will be there as well on that property. So it is ongoing. The work continues, or it is a work in progress, but it is still a conversation that some continues to make on the island of Nevis, and saying that the project is not complete. Of course it's not complete, because it's a work in progress. But the good thing is that even though it's not complete, it is continuing to provide the services that persons need on a daily basis, whether to come from Reggae Beach to Nevis or from Wally to St. Kitts. And so there are persons who continue to talk about it. I say, well, continue to talk. Some of you should not even be saying anything, because you didn't want the facility to be built in the first place. And of course, I'm going to give you some numbers. I'm going to give the general public some numbers in terms of arrival and departures, because this says something. It sends a clear message that the whole idea to construct this facility was one which was visionary and one that has paid dividends thus far. For example, here we go. In January of this year, you had 10,132 persons arriving at the facility. Departing, we had 9,088 persons, for a total of 19,767 persons. That is for January. For February, arriving 9,288 persons, departing 8,095 persons, for a total of 17,966 persons. In March, 11,047 persons arrived there. 9,653 persons departed, for a total of 21,311 persons in March. In April, 10,974 persons arrived. 10,255 persons departed, for a total of 21,795 persons. And I have up to May, which is 9,493 persons would have arrived. 8,981 persons departed, for a total of 19,021 persons. So for an overall total for January, February, March, April, May, 5 months, first 5 months of the year, you're looking at 99,860 persons would have used that facility, moving out and coming in, falling short by 140 persons to make it 100,000 persons. So I'm going to round it off and say approximately 100 persons would have used that facility over the last 5 months. We're just into, well, as a matter of fact, by the end of June, those numbers will be telling, because we have some serious movement these days. But I bring those numbers because it is important to point out to the general public that this facility, in spite of all of the negativity, you know, there is a saying, I believe it is nattering nabobs of negativity, 3 N's, nattering nabobs and nabobs. I think I recall this saying from somewhere in the 1970s. It was uttered by, I believe, the Vice President of the United States at that time, when a lot was being said about President Richard Nixon. You know, President Richard Nixon had a tumultuous term coming on to the end of his term. He served from 1969 to 1974, I believe. And they had some scandals surrounding his presidency, and it seemed like the pressure was coming. The pressure was coming, and the media was attacking. And that was the utterance by the then Vice President. I forgot his name. Agnew is the last name, though. Someone might be able to help me with that. Agnew. was the last name. But anyway, put that aside. That saying was, he was the one who coined that saying, the nattering nabobs of negativism. I think that's what it was. So you hear all of these negatives, and you hear nothing going on, and play saying finish, and it seems as though that is the usual utterance of the NRP. Nothing. Everything is nothing going on, nothing happening, nothing this, nothing that. And it seems as though some of them have been caught up with this nothing, saying nothing. It seems as though they don't even want to pay what they owe as well, because they said they don't owe the bank nothing. And that's why the bank has come and taken what they have, because the bank come back for what is theirs. So if they owe the bank $100,000, 100,000 US or EC dollars, and they say, I ain't owe the bank nothing, the bank coming back for whatever is, whatever collateral or security was there, the bank coming for it. If you have a mortgage that you're not paying, you say you don't know the bank, not the bank coming for the property. So all of these people who they say nothing happening, nothing this, they have all of the doctorates in the world. And they haven't been able to employ one single person in their lifetime. Don't even know how to write up a payroll. A weekly payroll to pay a weekly salary, or monthly payroll to pay a salary, sorry. A wage at the end of the week, or salary at the end of the month. Everything is nothing. There's so many things happening in Nevis that I don't even know where this talk is coming from about nothing happening. People are working. The good thing is that there are people out there who are not paying attention to those talks, you know. They're going about their business. They have 1 job, 2 jobs, 3 jobs. Man, if some of them can get 4 jobs, they're taking 4 jobs. Why? Because there's a buzz in the island. Things are happening. So this nothing was spread throughout the diaspora, up and down the United States, England, Europe, all over the place. They were saying nothing going on in Nevis. That is what they were saying. So people listened to that, latched onto it, and came here and almost changed a party in government that was doing all it can to advance the island of Nevis. But you know, I know we hear a lot of them say, boy, I'm so happy that things didn't go how it was intending to go then. Because now they know the truth. You see, people need to listen to all sides. If you tuned into one side of the story, that is what you'll believe, and that is what you'll go on, and that is what you'll make your decision based on. But you have to listen. So when you hear this project ain't finished yet, the project is up and running, providing the services. Same thing with the Mondo track. Yes, we know a stand has to be built over there. Yes, we know the building has to be completed up there. Yes, we know the hospital has to be completed. But listen, I am saying to the people of Nevis and beyond, you see those 2 years between 2020, 2021? 2020 and 2021. Nevis is not isolated from the rest of the world. We are a part of a global community. Whatever happened anywhere in this world can easily affect Nevis. And in spite of the challenges that we are going through now, with inflation is an issue, we have some issues with crime, we have some difficulties on the island with water, of course. These are challenges and difficulties that once they are managed properly, and they are being managed in such a way that persons are not adversely affected, whereby people are not out there on the street with a bucket on their head. People are still going to the groceries to shop. We know that there's a Ukraine war. Well, the Russians and the Ukrainians are fighting right now. A lot of the goods that we purchase right here in Nevis come from as far as Ukraine. Wheat, barley, and all those type of products are grown there and produced there. So if there's a cutoff of the supply chain, you have to seek alternative areas to procure these goods. They're not going to come cheap. And when they reach our shores, the price will be reflected in that regard. Transportation costs is coming down a little now, but there was a point in time when it was almost $20,000 or more to ship a container out of China. Well, if it is $20,000 and it is to come to Nevis, what do you expect? I would expect the business persons to pass on that cost to the consumers. The government cannot cushion everything. All we have to do is to ensure that we are budgeting accordingly. And don't tell me that you don't have the money. People have money. You just have to balance your budget and use whatever resources you have, whatever scarce resources you have. Use it wisely. And that is why I say I believe I can commend the guys who are managing the scarce resource that we have at this time, water. Management of that is important. And you know, while we're sleeping at 9, 10 o'clock, they go on and they shut down the water, let the system build back up, and then they come back the morning by 5 a.m. to turn that water back on so that we can have water early in the morning. That requires management and requires a certain type of dedication. And I want to applaud them, all those who go out there in the dead of night to do that. And all of the other persons who provide services or manage the services that we use here on the island of Nevis. The best we can do is applaud them and give them the necessary accolades that they deserve. They get paid, yes, but that's half of the equation. They have to leave their families. They have to leave their warm beds and go and do these things. As a matter of fact, while I'm on that, these are some of the persons whom the Nevis Island administration would have sought to take care of recently. Well, actually, the policy that was implemented to take care of our non-established workers who go above and beyond, they are now being protected with this non-establishment pension. Non-established workers pension policy that was introduced back in September of last year, but now in full effect as of the 1st of January this year. That is how you take care of people. You take care of them because we depend on them, we rely on them, and we know how important they are to the overall development of the island of Nevis. And this CCM-led Nevis Island administration must be commended because many have talked about this before. Many had nice glowing speeches about it before, but the Honorable Mark Brantley and his leadership would have come to the fore in terms of ensuring that all non-established workers, whether at Public Works, whether at the Nevis Water Department, whether at Agriculture, all up and down the civil service, they're being taken care of, and I want to applaud the Nevis Island administration for doing so. And they would have done an excellent job even before they were given this package. So they now can go home with some dignity, look after their family, send their children to school or grandchildren to school. Some still have grandchildren going to universities overseas. So that additional financial stability that was brought about recently is what is necessary to keep them going as a family. You have to live out your life in this island and live with dignity. And the Nevis Island administration has contributed to that in some measure in terms of ensuring that you can collect your pension from Social Security, but added to that, you now have your pension from the Nevis Island administration to add to your pension from Social Security. Added financial security for you. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to say that, and I'm happy that we have done that. And I also want to say that you know, irrespective of what you hear about nothing happening, that is something huge. That is something that is historic in that it was never done before. It has been done now, and the CCM must be applauded in government for doing so. But all of the negativity comes to the fore. Everything is something negative. And I asked myself the other day, I wonder what NRP did when they were in government, because I can't think of anything other than building roads, building some homes, building the NIPAC down there, which was estimated to cost $9 million, and we end up spending $15 million down there. A local contractor, Lefco, would have bid $9 million, sorry, and we ended up giving up a foreign company for $15 million. What else? What else was done? Roads, some community centers, sorry. But I could tell you this much. They were very good at taking care of their own, yeah? Because I was listening throughout the whole of this week to see if the NRP was going to talk about water. And I didn't hear one word from the NRP regarding water. You know why? They weave a tangle web when they were in government. They had this tangle web weaving. Oh, things were bad with water in Nevis. Things were bad, and I went and did some research. I said, let me go and dig up some rainfall data, and let me see if things were as bad as they say. Listen, in 2008, for example, we received about 48 inches of water. Not water, rainfall, sorry. Take your time. 48 inches of rainfall. But if I want to go back to 2004, because they say water was so bad in Nevis, so bad. In 2004, 63.7 inches of rainfall we had, you know. Enough rain. In 2005, 55.7 inches of rain. 2006, 54.4. 54.4 inches of rain. 2007, 48.3. 2008, 48.1. Now keep in mind, in 2008, Four Seasons was visited by Omar. That is a hurricane that came. Didn't destroy Nevis, but it knocked out the whole hotel plant down there at Four Seasons. Four Seasons was out of commission for 2 years. So, you know, the water consumption that we would have had on the island, you could say the couple hundreds of thousands of gallons that were consumed by Four Seasons. Once they're full, the consumption rate is high down there at Four Seasons. But they were not in this equation because you had rain, you had water, Four Seasons was out of commission. So you want to ask yourself the question. The argument that was made by NRP said water was so bad, but you had rain, you didn't have Four Seasons online. For example, in 2010 you had 69.1 inches of rain. So you ask yourself, well, where was the water problem? I can't recall knowing about any water problem. People on the street have met me in recent times and said, listen, that is hogwash. I can't recall either having them kind of water problems that the NRP was talking about or still seem to want to talk about. But you know what? To ensure that one of their friends get this big contract, and I tell you the Weaver Tango Web, you know, and sometimes they come and they think people forget, people not listening. They were on their station last week and they were talking about water. They said, listen, 4 companies bid to submitted proposals to supply Nevis with 1 million gallons of water per day. They said one company submitted a proposal for $8 million for 2 wells. They said another submitted 7.4 million, some other 5.9 million or somewhere around there. But the company that they chose to select was BEAD. And they named one of their bigwigs who was responsible for that company. $6.4 million to provide us with 2 wells, supplying 1 million gallons of water per day. And I told you last week, you know, that company never ever supplied Nevis with 1 million gallons of water per day. But they submitted a proposal of $6.4 million. And the question people have asked me on the road, well, how come a submission was made, a proposal of $6.4 million, and then all of a sudden that turned into a contract for well over $32 million over 10 years, an average of $3.2 million per year, $32 million plus. Well, the person who I engaged, and some persons also met me and said, well, for that kind of money we could have get about 10 wells. 10 wells! Because the average cost of one of those wells to develop is about $3 million. So you see the tangle web that they weave, instead of paying off the company, well, that's your proposal, develop the wells, see the $6.4 million. Be on your way. No. But they're the ones who brought it to light, you know. They're the ones who brought it to light. Tell you, oh, what a tangle web we weave when at first we attempt to deceive. The people of Nevis were deceived. And that's what they have done over and over again. Because I hear them, we just talk about geothermal again, you know, and people be the last entity to talk about geothermal. If I were them, I would keep my mouth shut. If I were them. Because that is the same NRP party that was up and down Nevis waving this banner of geothermal coming. They had a big song and dance down in Charleston one Friday afternoon. They had music, they had bands, they had singers. Oh, they were down there singing. I wonder if I could sing good. They were singing. What they were singing again? Geothermal coming. Oh, yeah. Geothermal is coming. At the people we laughing. That sound like I could sing, right? Yeah. That's what they were doing, they singing at the people of Nevis. Because you know what? Shortly after that, they took the same developer to court. Said the developer not got no money. The developer broke. Look at Church Mice. Take him to court. Got rid of him. He then, the developer then went and appeal. I can recall when I came in as the minister responsible for communications and works. I went down to St. Kitts to the appeals court. The gentleman came over where I was sitting and said, let's go outside and have a conversation. I said to him, you ain't see the 3 judges up there sitting already? I gonna say to you outside, the judges are impaneled, ready to go. Where are you going? Because NRP done say you broke. But they were up and down, waving the song and dance, down in Charlestown, up in the cultural complex, and wherever all up and down Nevis talking about geothermal coming. I pick up all up and down Nevis, my energy, my something. I don't remember what was on the pickup. Pickup disappear and all. I was looking for it the other day. I can't even find it. So I'm gone like a chaff in the wind. But that is kind of NRP you've been dealing with, and some people are failing to realize that NRP is 33% facts, 33% omission, and 33% lies. If you take the 1% well left and add it on to those three categories, you'll never come up with the truth. And that's what they've been spewing up and down the island of Nevis. So here's what they say. To divert you away from the truth and the fact, they always come, and one person they attack every day. Mark Brantley. Well, me don't get my share of attack, you know, because me back broad like a plywood. I don't even care. Why I say I don't care? Because every day they spend time on my name. They say what I have and what I don't have. I really don't care anymore. In the sense that I know when you look at these hands, they're clean like a whistle. And when you think about me, I was raised by my grandmother and my grandfather, and they raised me well. Tell me, don't look at what people have. Work hard for what you want. An honest day's work for an honest day's pay. Get up early in the morning, go to bed at night, refresh yourself, and get up to go and work the next day. And that's why I tell you all, 100,000 people pass through that facility over there at Ouali. Those who have degrees, and those who have masters, and those who have doctorates. 100,000 people, you can market to them. Something you can come up with. Even if you go there to sell nuts. Bags of nuts. I think a bag of nuts, 50 pound bag of nuts, maybe costs about $200-300. You could get more than 1,000 bags out of that. Those little brown bags. You sell to 1,000 of those people, that's $5,000. What are you telling me? You can't make money? I see a young man come down from Gingerland every morning. He come down and he meet the first boat, and he got a tray. And he's selling nuts. And he also have top up now too, you know. He not got no degree, he not got no masters, he not got no PhD or anything. But he has seen an avenue through which he can make $1. He does it quietly, unassuming. I want to commend him. I don't even know what his name is, boy. What's his name? I know him good though. That man comes down righteously every single morning, and I could bet you he's making money. And you can depend on him, because he's there every day. I wish I could advertise his name and his business, but he seems as though he has grown some roots. People expect him. Listen, it's $5 for a bag of nuts. You sell 2,000 to 100,000 people, you're telling me? You go there and you stand up by the gate there with a tray of nuts. You must sell off all. Nuts is a kind of thing that people love. You know, patch nuts, have to shell it and peel it off and throw the whole thing in about, or whatever the case might be, meaning the red you know, covering, whatever it is, whatever you want to call it. But I'm just giving you an idea. I'm not saying to go and do it, but if you have gone to the highest pinnacle and you cannot find a work in this island, it means something wrong with you. If all you can do is plant passion fruit and they're over there dead, look at Wilkes, it means that you haven't reached anywhere in life. Well, they say Hammond is the big thing now. They say Hammond is the big thing now, so maybe that's where they're making the money. But anyway, let me leave that out of on radio. But what I'm saying is that all of them with the chat who have all these masters and all these doctorates, tell me one person who they are employing on a daily basis. Tell me one person they are employing to add to the tax base on Nevis to ensure social security remain vibrant and viable and sustainable throughout the years. Tell me which payroll they write on a weekly basis or on a monthly basis. All they're waiting for is to come into government. So you know what they do? All of them collude. They don't like one another, you know. I'm telling you flat, they don't like one another at all. But there's a saying that 2 enemies, 3 enemies, 4 enemies will come together against one common foe. Their common foe is CCM and Mark Bradley. So all of them colluding. And I'm going to tell you something, you know, listen me good. You see Dr. Josh Daniel Hodge, I'm going to tell you plain, this is my opinion, Joseph Parry don't like you. And I don't care what anybody say about me. I will tell you this much. The tangle web that I tell you about, right? The same Joseph Parry, what you think he selected Cleon to carry on whatever little legacy he left behind. You all come and mash that up. And they were colluding behind your back But they was shown, once they get caught out, they all come together now as if they wipe off their mouth and wipe off their hand like nothing happened. A pure confusion in NRP. I'm telling you all that. I'm saying it from this microphone. Pure confusion in that NRP. And you know what? A lot of people now saying they're so glad they didn't see an NRP government, because that's what we would have had in this island. Pure confusion. When they came into government in 2006, they said, government in the sunshine. They were up and down Nevis, go government in the sunshine. And then 6 months later, people say, oh, Lord, son of bun me, let's get rid of them. And the people of Nevis made the conscious decision to get rid of the NRP. And they got rid of them because, one, they were all about themselves. Two, they then went and did something that they'll never be forgiven for. Taking people name off the voters list. They did all kind of little things here and there, but one of the major things they did, which didn't bring any economic value to Nevis, was to take people name off the voters list. I didn't come here this afternoon with no notes for these things, but I'm chatting. You know why? People need to be reminded about the politics of this island. I'm not going to bring some history to you know. When I said Josie Parry don't like Janice, I'm telling you the truth. Never like the father, how we going to like the daughter? I may be going down the wrong road today, but I'm going down there because I'm going to bring the history right here. There are written history out there, and the books are out there for that, and I'm going to read it over again, and I'll come here and I'm going to read it out to the people. Because they won't pretend that they're so good and so love Nevis people. Not while I'm around. I have been quiet for the last 10 years because I was given a mandate to go and work for the people of Nevis, and that is what I did. And I have a laundry list of things that I can bring to this microphone and articulate to you that I've done to bring progress to the island of Nevis. I have no shame. No shame in this game, because I came to work and I still got enough strength in my body too, you know, I got enough strength in my mouth too. So I'm going to go talk. But I know for sure there is no love over there. And I'm going to say it again, that if Janice feel like anybody inside that party like her, guess again, you think they like you? They don't like you. Don't come after me. Your problem is not Alexis Jeffers. Your problem is within the NRP. And all of the pretense that you have within the NRP. You see, they couldn't even work out the maths with Cleone. Say what you want about Mark Brantley. I'll tell you, Mark Brantley have brought different proposals and different recommendations to us as a team. You think he get all that he need? No. He have never gotten all that he need to get. But you know what? We sat down as a team, grown, sensible people, and work out with maths. And that's why there's no confusion in CCM. As much as you all want to think confusion is there, none inside there, because we know how to get along. And we know what our limitations are. We know who is the leader when it's all said and done. But not everything has always gone how persons think they've gone, or how Mark Brantley would like it to go, or Premier Mark Brantley. But the thing is, we're here for one reason, and that is to serve the best interests of the people of Nevis. NRP will tell you they're best for Nevis, and I would tell you NRP is best to keep away from, because they're a bunch of confusion as they are. And that is why they couldn't come back this week to talk about water, even though there's difficulties out there with water. But that's okay. Every time they come with any half-truth, omission, or lies, are going to come back here. And what they'll need to do when I come with lies, point it out. Because I am telling you, I have never had to come back and retract or restate anything, because I don't come here for that. Von Radio would not allow me to do so either, because Von Radio has been the Caribbean's only powerhouse. You hear me say it from the get-go. And because of that fact, we have to ensure that we continue to bring the truth here to the people of Nevis. Ladies and gentlemen, before I forget, the poultry processing plant. Last week I did say that we would have had the groundbreaking ceremony last Tuesday, or this past Tuesday. I forgot that we had Parliament. I did say we were going to have Parliament, that's right. But I didn't know what was happening from the Department or the Ministry of Agriculture standpoint. So when I checked with Minister Evelyn, he said that they had to postpone it until this coming Wednesday. Oh, let's back up. This coming Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. up there at the prospect below the abattoir. So the groundbreaking ceremony will be held there next Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. Also, by this time next week, we'll be in the full thick of things in terms of celebrating Mango Festival here on the island of Nevis. Next weekend, it starts next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now, what I want persons to do is to go into social media, Facebook, YouTube, or just follow the airwaves this week, and you'll get a listing of the activities, where and when. I know next Friday afternoon, the activities will be down at the Indian Castle Fruit Orchard. That's a beautiful project down there at Indian Castle. And of course, for those who have never been down there, I would want you to go down and have a look, to be a part of the event, but also to tour the facility. Normally when I go there, I would walk the entire compound. It's a good little exercise, 35 acres. So I'm encouraging one and all to go down next week once the weather holds, and I'm praying that the weather holds for that. So next Friday, that is the start of Mango Festival. So ladies and gentlemen, of course, we come here every week. We talk politics, we talk about social events, we talk about many things. But I want to say to you that no party that comes to you in the future and say, change, we want a change, give us a change, we need a change, and they don't have a manifesto, that's the first thing you have to ask them for. Where is your manifesto, and where are the plans that you have for the island of Nevis? Right now, the Concerned Citizens Movement is still in government. This is one of the commitments we had. That is the poultry processing, or the poultry project, where we're going to raise broilers here on the island of Nevis for meat purposes, and of course have, you know, meat, chicken parts and chicken products available here in our supermarkets, in our grocery shops, and also in our school meals program. We want our children to be eating wholesome food, and that is one of the things. And of course, we have spoken about other things that we will be doing here on the island of Nevis. I am yet to touch on the airport project. Why I say that is because I am one who believe that you must have your ducks in order, you must have things in place before you start talking. You've heard the Premier said as soon as we have all of the necessary details, we'll roll that out and bring that to the general public. At this point in time, we are negotiating with landowners. We have had positive feedbacks over there, even though some have been saying that Alexis Jeffers, as they say, is bullying people out of their land. I have done no such thing. We have written to landowners, they have responded, and we are negotiating, and so far, as the song say, so far so good. We have had good responses, but of course we'll have the details regarding the expansion of that project, and it would mean something big for the island of Nevis. Of course, we always need to have that airlift and that connection. It has been a dormant airport for a long time. When I said dormant, there are some flights coming, yes, but it doesn't have the activity that we know we can have over there at Van Sammer International Airport. Well, the NRP chose not to do anything about it. You know, they say once Van Sammer name is on it, they're not flying through, not using it to fly out of here. That's what they've said. So you know, left to them. And none other than Cleone as well, I think I heard her say, he ain't gonna get no better unless you take off Van Sammer's name. They're always obsessed with a name. What is a name? The important thing is what the infrastructure can do for the island of Nevis. How can we propel this island forward through that particular infrastructure to ensure that we're getting revenue, you're getting that connection to Nevis. That is what we're looking to, seeking to accomplish. And I hear there are persons who are in the trenches, behind the scenes, doing and saying things to derail this project. People who I want to say to you that we are a resilient government, we are a resilient party, we are a resilient party, and people, sorry. And when we say we are going to do something, because I know when we started the work over there at the Wally Water Taxi facility, many had their opposition to it. We pressed on anyway. How you think 100,000 people would have passed through there over the last 5 months if we didn't build one? How you think persons would have gotten to Park Hyatt to do their work over there if we didn't build one? And those of you who want to knock those who go to Park Hyatt, let me tell you something, right? When people go to Park Hyatt to work, the skills that they have can be used and utilized anywhere throughout the world where Park Hyatt exists. Some of them, I'm sure, have left Park Hyatt St. Kitts and have gone to Park Hyatt New York or Park Hyatt Texas or somewhere else. It means that you would have garnered the skills, hone your skills here at Park Hyatt St. Kitts, and with those skills you move on to higher heights. So when you talk about you build something and people going over St. Kitts go, they're going to make themselves better their life, better their standards. Well, why people like to be so negative? When there are positive things out there happening. Oh man, I tell you, these people are something else. Anyway, take it easy. I just got to laugh because, but if you don't laugh, you're going to cry. Because listen, when a government put an infrastructure in place like that and say, Lord, this is the connection 5 minutes away, you can have a job there. You can be in management. And when you see these things come up in the newspaper or in the news bulletin, wherever it is, that Shamika Budgen is now the supervisor of room service or maybe supervisor of housekeeping or go up to something else, whatever. Supervisor of the front desk, that kind of thing. That is good news and we feel good about that. Now suppose Shamika Budgen leave there now and go to New York and have a supervisory position. We'll feel good about that. But you know where it started? It started by her leaving where she lived, going over to Uwali, taking the water taxi, and going down to St. Kitts. Simple as that. And then you move up in the ranks and go to higher heights. That's what we want our people to do. What is so wrong with that? What is so wrong with that? But that is the thinking of NRP. Everything negative, that is what they spew on the airwaves. But I come here to bring the truth and I come here to bring positive things. Because Nevis, when it's all said and done, is near and dear to all of us. Nevis is all some of us have, and we cannot burn down Nevis, chuck gas and oil and matches on Nevis and burn it down and expect to bring it back to where it is now. We have to build on what we have because the foundation is already there. That's why we had leaders of the past who would have built that foundation, and we now who are here will continue to build on it, and who come after us will continue to build and even put on the roofing. Whatever it takes to get us to where we want to get to. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been talking. But you know, I love to talk, you know. Nothing's wrong with that. Spend an hour of my time here, and when I finish talking, then I can go and get something to eat because I'm hungry now. But it's always a pleasure coming here. I believe we're just another minute before we're done, but I'm going to go into the wrap-up phase and say to you that those of you who would go to St. Kitts to enjoy music festival, be safe about it. The seas somewhat rough, but not as bad as I was anticipating. So of course, when you get to Uwali, there's a parking area there now where you can park your cars off the road. There's light in the parking area as a means of security. You can park there and go over to St. Kitts. And when you go to St. Kitts, like I said, be on your best behavior and enjoy the fun and the frolic over there. Yes, we need you tomorrow and the day after and the months ahead to continue to contribute to the progress of the island of Nevis, because Nevis needs you just as Nevis, that's just as we need Nevis. Yeah, so let's make this a safe weekend. Enjoy your time, and of course when you're ready, done with the partying and the frolicking, get back to work and continue to contribute. That has been my time today, ladies and gentlemen. It was indeed my pleasure being here, and of course it is my pleasure to come again next week, God's willing, to have another program on point. My name is Alexis Jeffers, and of course it was indeed my pleasure. Thank you for being a good engineer back there. Appreciate it very much, and thanks to the staff here at Von Radio who continue to accommodate myself and all who come here to have programs on these airwaves. Thank you, and continue to listen to Von Radio this afternoon. May God continue to bless us all. Thank you very much.
And opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited or its